Today's mat workout is going to be on the foam roller. So grab your foam roller. I got a long one today, not like my last video, I had a little short one. So with the long one we can do more balancing type stuff on it. So I put it down parallel with my mat, and you're going to come to one end and you're going to sit on the roller and then roll back onto your back so that your head is at one end and your hips are at the other end. So really the back of your sacrum is at one end, head at the other. I think I'll slide up my mat a little bit more to get a little bit more centered. So make sure your head is on the roller and not hanging off so that you have some support with this. Hands are down by your side. Now I want you just to focus on a couple deep breaths because it just feels good too to let your arms fall down. You can stretch your arms out to the side, a T with palms facing up if you want. You can keep them close to your side. Whatever feels better. So take a deep breath in, breath up high in the rib cage, that Pilates lateral rib cage breathing, and then exhale, forcing every ounce of air out of the lungs. Focus on a deep breath in, and then exhaling every ounce of air out of the lungs. So as you're doing these deep breaths, now I want you to think about pulling the belly in, pulling up on the pelvic floor, lengthening the back of the neck, and even just lengthening your spine, whatever feels good on your back here. You don't have to think about tucking the tailbone under or arching your back. Just try to stay in neutral, with just a natural curve in the low back. Take one more deep breath in, breath up high in the rib cage. And then I want you to exhale, force every ounce of air out of the lungs. Reach your arms so that they're covering off the floor, parallel with your body. And you're going to take a deep breath in, exhale, curl up, look into the belly. And then rest your head and shoulders back down. And we're going to keep doing these little curls where you're flexing the upper spine up, looking into the belly. If you can, bring your feet close together. The closer your feet are together, the harder this is going to be on your balance. So if you feel real wobbly, you can bring your feet a little bit wider apart. Curling up, looking into the belly, and then resting right back down. We'll do two more. Try to challenge yourself and bring your feet really close together. And then one more, curling up. After you rest on your head and shoulders, you're going to rest on your hands to the floor. With this one, you can bring your hands out really wide, out to that T for easier, or bring them real close into the roller for harder. I want you to bring the legs up to tabletop position. With tabletop, you're going to squeeze the legs together and just hold there. You might feel real wobbly, so if you need to, you could bring those hands out wider away. You could walk them out again. So just find a spot where you can maintain this. Again, we are trying to keep neutral in the low back. That's our hip bones and pubic bone are on the same plane. And we're going to do some alternating leg toe taps. So one leg lowers down and then bring it right back up. Do the same on the other leg and then bring it right back up. So we're trying not to wobble. You do want to stay balanced. Pull the belly in. We're trying so hard not to fall off your roller. So if you really want to make it a little tricky on yourself, try to do this with your eyes closed. Just a fun little challenge. Hopefully you don't fall off. When you bring both legs together, hold them together. So now it's a little bit more core work. You could open your eyes, of course. But both legs are going to lower and then lift. So now we're doing toe taps with both legs. So what you want to focus on here too, obviously your abs are really working hard, but pay attention to the low back. So if you need to, you could do shoulder range of motion. But if you can't, get those toes real close to the floor and then bring them back up. And hopefully nothing in the lumbar spine or your pelvis changes position as you're going down and up. And again, challenge yourself by bringing those arms real close into the roller or walk them out wider if you need to make it easier. We'll do two more toe taps. Lower and lift, and then your last one. And then you can bring them back up. Now we're going to keep one leg lifted at tabletop, put the other foot down to the floor. So this one's just opposite arm and leg. So if your right leg is up, lift your left arm up. And then try to keep that arm that is still on the floor, bring it real close into your body, really close into the roller. And focus on your balance here. So the foot that is on the floor, you want to keep that leg tight and strong, still working leg. Pull the belly in, shoulders are still sliding down. Take one more deep breath up high in the rib cage. And then you're going to rest down the hand and the foot. So everything's down onto the floor. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So lift the opposite leg up and then the opposite arm of that lifted leg. Try not to wobble. Again, you could always give yourself that extra challenge of closing your eyes if you really want to. So the leg that is on the floor, keep it tight and strong. Feel like that foot is glued to the floor. Keep the lifted leg still a working leg. It's not lazy. Still pulling the belly in. Always think pulling up on the pelvic floor. Take one more deep breath up high in the rib cage, and then you're gonna rest right back down. So now we're gonna do straight legs. So you're gonna bring the feet together. Both hands stay on the floor. They could come really close to your roller again for harder, or hands really far out for easier. Bring both legs to tabletop position and then extend them to the ceiling. So this could be plenty hard for your balance. You could just stay here, focus on holding this, and then when you're not wobbly, you can add the extra challenge of lowering and lifting the legs. So try to keep the legs straight. Try to maintain neutral here in the low back. So again, hip bones and pubic bone on the same plane, draw the navel in, and then both legs are gonna lower and lift. So try to send those legs, I feel like I'm gonna fall off my roller. Try to send those legs as low as you can without arching the low back, and then bring them right back up. Lower, and then lifting. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Lengthen the back of the neck too. What you don't want to happen is your chin pushing up towards the ceiling. You want to bring that chin closer and towards your chest to keep the neck long. Focus on squeezing the inner thighs together. You're squeezing the glutes. You're still pulling up on the pelvic floor. Pulling the belly in. Do one more, lower and lift. When you bring the legs up, you can bend your knees and then give yourself a little break. So we are going to come off the roller. You can pull yourself straight up the center, or you could roll over to the side, whatever works. You're going to get that roller out of there. And on the next one, you're going to put the roller underneath your legs, because we are going to come back onto our back and then do some bridging exercises. So when you're on your back, put your feet on the roller, so you're right on the arches. Hands are down by your side. Your heels are lined up with the sit bones. So take a deep breath in, lead with the tailbone, and then peel your spine up off the floor and hold the hips up high. Take a deep breath in, and then slowly roll back down until you rest. We're going to do it again, lifting the hips up, coming up into the bridge, and then rolling right back down. Now on the next one, you're going to get those hips up and hold it. Here's where you feel the back of the legs working a little harder. You're going to roll to the heel, and then right back to the arch. Go to heel, and then arch. Two more. One more. Bring it to the arch, hold for a deep breath, and then slowly roll down, trying to roll down one vertebrae down at a time until you rest. Hold that imprinted spine. This time we're going to go to the toes and then arch of the foot. So if you need to, you could walk that roller maybe an inch or two away from you down your mat to give yourself more space to bring that roller in to your hips. So start on the arch of the feet, take a deep breath, peel your spine up, lift the hips, hold. Now roll to the toes and then to the arch. Toes and arch. Keeping the hips up, still breathing. Do your last one. Roll to the arch and then slowly roll your spine down until you rest. Good. Now if you need to, you can stretch out the back of the legs here. I know working those hamstrings is hard to cramp up. But the more often you do this, the less likely you're going to cramp up in the back of the legs. So now on the next one, it's going to be harder. It's single leg. But we lift to the bridge and then do some alternating kicks. So keeping your arches on the roller, lift your hips up and hold. Keep your hips up the whole time as you kick one leg up, lower down, kick the other leg up, and lower down. Now don't let that roller creep away from you. Try to keep the hips up the whole time. Do one more kick on each leg. Hopefully you're still breathing. After you have both feet to the roller, take one more deep breath and then slowly roll back down until you rest. So now we're going to do another variation of the single leg. So remember though, when we rolled to heel and arch, we're going to do that on each side while we get up. So add building, one building on top of the other. So take a deep breath, lift the hips up and hold. Kick one leg to the ceiling, hold, and now with this lower leg that's on the roller, you're going to go to heel, and then arch, heel, and then arch. Now when you roll back to the arch, hold it, switch legs.
So lowering back down, kick that leg to the ceiling, go to heel and then arch. Try and do 4. I know sometimes you cramp up and you can't hold it. Rest on the foot, take a deep breath, and then slowly roll down until you rest. Now lengthen both legs out to straight. Glue the legs together. I feel like I'm coming off my mat a bit. With the legs straight on your roller, just have the back of the ankles on there. Reach both arms to the ceiling. So we're gonna do roll-ups. We do this all the time in the mat class. Bring your head up off the floor, pull the belly in, and then bring your spine up and stretch out over the legs. Hopefully you feel a deep hamstring stretch. Stack back up to straight, and then roll all the way back down to the floor. So when the arms come to the ceiling, the rest of your spine lays down, you still wanna have that feeling of pulling your bottom ribs towards your hips, not letting the ribs flare up to the ceiling. So keep your core tight and pulled in, head up, shoulders up, rest of your spine follows, stretch out over the legs, stack your spine up to straight, and then rolling back down. We're gonna do 2 more. Take a deep breath, exhale, pulling up. Stretching a little further if you can. Stack up, grow tall, and then rolling back down to the floor. This is our last one. Stack up, and then rolling all the way back down until you rest. Good, you can bring your hands down. Now we are gonna roll over onto our side. When we roll onto our side, you're gonna lengthen the legs away from you, and you're gonna have your legs stacked on the roller. You can stack them one on top of the other or one in front of the other. Either one is fine. But we're gonna lift up and kind of go into this little plank. So when you're ready, you're on your elbow, shoulders shrug down out of the ears. This top hand can be on the floor if you need it, but you're gonna lift your hips up and then hold. Take a deep breath, and then slowly rest back down. So we're gonna do it again. So I'll do this with the ankles stacked on this one so you can see. You just lift the hips up and hold your legs stacked. Now if you don't need that top hand in front, take it up to the sky and just hold. This lower arm is strong. It's pushing into the floor so you're not sinking into the shoulder. You gotta keep pushing the floor away and stay lifted out of the shoulder. We're gonna do it again. So when you're ready, send that arm up and then lift up. Hold, breathe. Now there's always the extra challenge of lifting and lowering the top leg, up and down. Still breathing. Do 1 more. And then when you're ready, you can finally rest down. I'm gonna build onto that one. You can take it or leave it. You could just get into the plank and hold, or you could just sit and watch the show. But we're gonna lift up again, coming into that plank. Top hand can stay on the floor if you need it, otherwise send it to the sky. Top leg lifts, and now we're gonna do leg kicks. The leg goes forward and back. You're trying so hard to keep your upper body tight and strong and in control. We'll do 1 more. When you bring the legs back, rest your hips down, and then you can take a break. Let's go to the other side. So bring your roller over to the other side of the mat, or you can just flip around, whatever is best, as long as you know what you're supposed to be doing. Now we're gonna bring your feet out to the roller. So the roller's at the bottom edge of the mat, elbow at the top. Pick a spot for your ankles, one in front of the other, or one on top of the other. I'm just gonna go on top on this one. You're gonna lift, hold, still breathe. If you don't need that top hand, you can send it to the sky. You get to rest back down, take a little break. And again, lifting up, hold. Focus on this lower arm, working so hard to push away, pushing the floor away so you stay lifted out of the shoulder. And then you're gonna rest back down. Now this one, the third set, we lifted and lowered the top leg. So when you're ready, get back into it. Hold, top leg goes up and down. Still breathing. Keep pushing down to the elbow. Keep that lower leg still really strong working leg. You can rest the leg and then rest back down. Now remember, you can keep the top hand on the floor. You don't have to take it to the ceiling. So this last one is the hardest. That's where we lift the leg and swing forward and back. So when you're ready, get up, hold, top arm up, only if you can, top leg up, and now swing forward and back. You're trying not to sway the upper body. Stay tight and strong, still breathing. We have 1 more forward kick. Last kick back, stack the legs, and then you get a rest back down. Now come up to seated, keep your roller there at the bottom edge of your mat. We're going to the mermaid. Mermaid's gonna feel like heaven compared to that last exercise. So we are gonna sit in the mermaid position, that Z-sit pattern with the legs, but we're gonna have the roller on the opposite side of our feet. So hand starts on the roller. This kind of mimics mermaid on the reformer. As you fall over and stretch, you kind of roll up the forearm, and then you come right back up to where you started. Falling over and stretch, and then pulling back up. Deep breath. Breathe into the side of the rib cage. Let's hold this stretch, and then you're going to rotate and look at the floor. Now you can't just hang out here in the stretch if you want, but then you want to rotate to face front, and then lift yourself back up. Now we're going to swing the legs to the other side and bring the roller to the other side. So we're switching. Feet on the opposite side of the roller. Square yourself off to face front. Hand starts on the roller, and then we're going to take that reaching arm way overhead and stretch. Deep breath, and then coming right back up. Now as you're stretching away, you want the hip that is on the opposite side of the roller, away from the roller, to stay really close to the floor. So think hip stays heavy, you stretch, and now you're going to rotate. Think bringing there out of the lungs, twisting. Stay low as you twist back, and then bring yourself back up. Guys, so now we're going to do leg pull in the next one. So we're going to have our back to the, facing towards the roller. Ignore that part. So we're facing towards the roller with hands on the roller. It's kind of in a plank position. Not kind of a plank, it is a plank. So when you're ready, hands are on the roller, legs are long, straight back behind you, and we're gonna hold. So when you're in a plank, you don't wanna drop chin to your chest and look into your belly. You don't wanna sink face to the floor either. You wanna feel back of the head, reach into the ceiling behind you, so you keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine. You also don't want your shoulder blades to wing together in the upper back. You wanna push as far away as you can, like you're pushing that roller deep into the floor and the upper back is spread apart. So now you could always take breaks from this if you need to. You could come down to your knees and modify, and if your wrists just don't like this pressure, you could come down to your elbows. So holding this is a little harder here to stay stable on the roller. We're gonna lift one leg up, lower down, lift the other leg up, and lower down. Now your hips are squared off, facing forward. Your abs are tight and pulled in. Remember to stay strong and in control in the upper body. Feel the shoulder blades spreading apart. Do one more on each leg. And then you can go ahead and rest on both feet, rest on your knees, sit back to your heels and go into a little child's pose stretch. Now let's lay flat down onto your belly. So you are going to keep the roller up there at the top of your mat, and you're going to have your arms on the roller. We're going into swan on this one, and then we'll do some swimming. So both arms are straight, and the roller is kind of underneath your forearms, maybe in between elbows and wrists, somewhere on the forearms. So make sure your roller is also not crooked. You do want it to be perpendicular with your mat, so when you lift up, you don't feel crooked on your roller. So this one, the legs are just lazy, kind of rested on the floor. They are long and straight. They're not together, ideally mat width apart with the ankles. So when you're ready, take a deep breath in. You're going to press down into that roller and lift your rib cage up. Feel the back extensors working hard to get you up, and then lower back down. Now if you only lift a little bit, that's fine too. You want to feel the pecs working hard in the front of the chest to help you press into the roller, and then really feel your back working hard to get you up. But you're really only lifting as far as that low back will let you come up. Make sure your abs are still tight and pulled in. You don't want a lazy abdomen, so keep pulling the navel towards your spine and lower down. Keep your feet on the floor. If you're trying to lift the legs when you lift your spine, they're fighting each other in that low back. So you gotta try to let the legs relax and let your back lift you up. Good. After you lower back down, we're gonna stay down low. The next one, we're gonna do the extension with the rotation. Bring your arms together, really close together in the center of the roller, and you're gonna lift up as high as you can. It's fine if you just come a little bit, but if you can, come up really high and hold. Now we're gonna stay up here, shoulders shrug down, don't grip into your neck. You're gonna take one hand off the roller, reach it back behind you, and follow that hand with your eyes. You're rotating through your neck as well. Then you bring it back to the roller, stay lifted. If you need to take a break though, you can in between, but we're gonna go to the other side. Follow that hand with your eyes, and then you come right back to center, and then you get a rest back down. You can separate the arms again, hold, lift the legs.
So your arms aren't really going to do anything on this swimming. You could swim the arms, but since we're doing roller class today, just let your arms hang out on it and swim the legs. Shoulders still shrug down out of the ears. Keep moving those legs up and down, pulling the belly in. Keep your neck in neutral. Remember, you're not gripping into the neck, so you want to keep your shoulders shrugging down out of the ears. Take one more deep breath, and then you get to finally relax. Now let's pick up your hips, sit back on your heels, and go into a little child's pose stretch and lengthen the arms. Now we're going to turn around and have your back to your roller. Just ignore your roller for a few minutes, because we did leg pull front where we were facing the floor. Now we're going to face towards the ceiling. So your hands are on the mat. This is basically a plank. I'll show you the easier modified version first. You just sit tall, lift the rib cage, don't sink into your shoulders. We're trying to keep lifted, shoulders down. Lift one leg up, lower down, lift the other leg up and lower down. So when you're lifting the legs, you don't want to sink into your shoulders every time you lift the leg. Your spine should not move. So that's the easier version. If you can, lift up and do that same leg lift. So here we're staying in the plank as you go up and down, switching the leg lift. Good. We'll just do one more full set. After you rest down both feet, hold it, take a deep breath, and then you can rest down. Fold forward into your legs and stretch. Now in the next one, we are going to put our hands on the roller. We're not going to do that same exercise though. It's just a little different. It's a tricep dip. So you can bring that roller a little closer in. Your legs are going to be straight, and you're going to have your legs together. So this one, your palms are wrapped forward around the front of your roller, and ideally your thumbs are with your fingers. So all the fingers are wrapped forward. You're going to lift up and then hold. So this one, the back of your hips are pretty close to your roller. So this one, you're going to try to bend the elbows and then straighten your arms. Very short range of motion, bending and straightening. If this bothers the wrist, you could just hold the plank. You don't have to hold up. You don't even have to come into the tricep dip. Bend the elbows and straighten. So this one, it kind of feels like you're sinking your hips to the floor and then straight. Now hold your arms straight. No more bending the elbows. This is scapula glides. Shoulders come up and shoulders down. Shoulders up and down. Still breathing. Just think shoulders up into your ears, and then pull those shoulders down as hard as you can while still keeping your arms straight. We'll do one more. Then you get to bend the elbows and then drop your hips to the floor. We're going to keep the roller behind your low back, but scoot your hips forward a little bit more so you have more space. This one we're going to go into an extension. You're going to have the roller behind the low back, but if you keep it really close to low back, it's going to be harder to get back into the extension. So you can go up a little bit more, and if you, depending on everybody's spine too, you could go all the way up to your mid-back, up a little bit higher, kind of where your bra strap crosses over. So if you need to, you can go really high, you can stay low. We're just going to drape back into an extension and then pull yourself back up. So really be careful with your neck on this one, because you don't want to fall back a little bit and just dip your head back. Your chin will be the last thing to lift up away from your chest. So bring yourself back only as far as you can. And if you feel like you can go really far, bring your head back. Then bring chin to your chest first, and then the rest of the spine follows. We'll just do two more. If you like it, feel free to go into it and just hold the extension. You could move that roller further up if you want and get more thoracic extension. We'll do one more. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring yourself back up. Now when you're in this up position, you want to have this flexion in your spine, this C curve. We're going to keep your hands, elbows off the roller. You could just rest them on your abdomen if you want. You can hover them up, but you're going to lift your hips up now off the floor. Keep this C curve in your spine, because you're going to roll from the bottom of your ribs to the top of your hips. So you're just rolling through that low back. What you don't want to happen is that you arch back and try to roll. It's very hard to get a smooth roll that way. So keep tucking the tailbone under, keep rounding your spine, and just rolling from bottom of the ribs to the top of the hips. We'll do two more. Feels like a little back massage
after working our back. After you're ready, you can go ahead and rest your hips back down to the floor. So just do a little butterfly stretch. Soles of the feet are together, your knees are wide, and you're gonna lean forward into the legs and stretch. Good, sit tall. Keep one leg bent, lengthen one leg out just straight. So with the leg bent, you're twisting towards it. You're gonna twist as far as you can. Try to grow taller and twist a little further. And we're gonna stay twisted towards that bent leg, and we're gonna fold into the straight long leg. Reach as far as you can. When you come back up, we're gonna do the whole set on the other side. So lengthen the leg, sit tall, and twist towards the bent leg. Twisting as far as you can. Try to grow taller. Now stay twisted towards the bent leg, but then fold into the straight leg. All right, coming back up, we're gonna end up turning around to face towards your roller. This one we're gonna massage our thighs a little bit to release that lactic acid buildup if you get any in your thighs. It's a little painful, but if you do this more often, kind of like that cramping that we get in the back of the thighs, if you do this more often, you're less likely to feel so much pain. So while you're laying on your roller, where you want to start on your roller is right at the top of your thighs, and you're on your elbows. But you don't want to sag your spine down to the floor, so you got to stay strong in your core. Walk your elbows way out at the top of your mat. And with those legs staying strong and your abs staying strong, you're going to bring that roller all the way to the top of the knees, and then you're going to roll away so you come to the top of your thighs. Just do that a couple of times, keeping your legs parallel, just going back and forth. I know it might feel a little painful, but now we're going to end up rotating laterally. So heels together, toes apart, kind of feels like your knees are trying to face towards the side walls. Keep your navel drawn in, rolling back and forth. Now we're going to rotate inward at your hips, so your knees and your toes are trying to face in. Now it kind of feels like you're massaging your outer thighs just a little bit. We'll do one more. And then when you're ready, you can drop your knees down to the floor. Bring yourself up onto all fours. You can just ignore your roller. Round your spine towards the ceiling, flexing, and then dropping your rib cage to the floor. Forehead and tailbone to the ceiling. Rounding your spine. Feel the shoulder blades spread apart, and then drop into extension. Come right back to a straight line through your spine. Sit back to your heels. Just go into a little child's pose stretch, lengthening your arms and reach. Breathe into the back of the rib cage. Good. After that, roll yourself back up so you're sitting tall on your heels. We'll do a couple of shoulder shrugs. You can do a couple of neck rolls, getting that tension out of the neck. And then after that, you guys are all done. You did good. Thanks for joining me for the foam roller.